The walk today was starting off in Horton in Ribblesdale, which is one of the more popular villages of the Yorkshire Dales and is situated in what is popularly known as limestone country. The Yorkshire Dales National Park was created in 1954 and covers an area of around 1,000 square miles of moors, valleys and small villages. We drove up the M6 motorway and then picked up the A687 Lancaster to Ingleton Road. This took us onto the A65 and then into Ingleton Village. We passed through the village centre, and as Steve Tapeworm was calling, we decided to nip into Bernie's Cafe in Ingleton before he started to rummage through our rucksacks for food. After a round of full English breakfast with toast and tea, we carried on up the B6255 by White Scar Cave, past Ribblehead Viaduct and then turned right along the B6479 and down into Horton in Ribblesdale. It was surprisingly busy when we got to Horton in Ribblesdale, and we were just quite fortunate enough to get a parking space as someone departed. It was a situation of one out and then one in. On this walk we were also accompanied by our friend Al, who came in disguise as the Crazy Frog. The route goes down the main street and past the well-known Pen Y Ghent cafe. It then follows the main road around St Oswald's Church and then goes up a farm track to pick up the Pennine Way. This leads up a well-made track to Tarn Bar, and then the route takes in the almost hidden Hunt Pot and then passes back over itself to the very impressive Hull Pot. Leaving by Hull Pot Beck and rising over the moor to the west, we drop back down to the Pennine Way, which then leads us gradually back down into Horton in Ribblesdale. The route is 6.5 miles long and is 917 feet of ascent.
Pen Y Ghent. Or is it Pen Y Ghent? Pen Y Ghent's what they call it. Beautiful morning. Bloody reprobates. Try and get away from them. You turn up even in the nicest of places. Look at him. Steps on. Reincarnated.
Horton in Ribblesdale is a small village and civil parish in the Craven district of North Yorkshire, England. It is situated in Ribblesdale on the Settle and Carlisle railway line to the west of Pen Y Ghent. Its population is about 450 people. And there is the celebrated Pen Y Ghent cafe and shop in the centre of Horton. It is known as the official start and timing point for the Three Peaks walk because of the old ticket punching machine used inside. You can time yourself in a more modern way using the official Yorkshire Three Peaks app, and the sales of which fund essential path repairs on the challenging route. The village post office that was previously located in the now closed village store is situated in the Crown Hotel. The Grade 1 listed village church is dedicated to St Oswald. It has a complete Norman nave, south door and tub font, and is the most complete of the Norman churches built in the Yorkshire Dales after the Norman conquest and the harrying of the north that followed. The square tower was built later. The lich gates to enter the churchyard are roofed with slabs of Horton slate. This church was historically associated with the deanery of Chester and was part of the Diocese of York, though to date is part of the Diocese of Leeds, and the surviving parish records date back to 1556. The village has two pubs, the Crown Hotel and the Golden Lion. The Three Peaks Walk is an endurance challenge of 26 miles, including 5,000 feet of ascent and descent of the mountains of Pen Y Ghent, Whernside and Ingleborough, and are all to be completed in under 12 hours. It attracts thousands of walkers each year. The circuit is also used for a fell race in April, while the Three Peaks cyclocross race also visits the three summits in the course of a longer 37.9 miles route on the last Sunday in September. Participants in both the running and cycling race regularly achieve winning times of around 3 hours, and sometimes both races in the year are won by the same competitor. We took a farm track which led us back up to the Pennine Way, which runs along Horton Scar Road, and followed this as far as Hunt Pot. There were plenty of photographic opportunities, and Paul took advantage of the glorious scenery to get his equipment out and play for a while. We continued along Horton Scar Road following the 260-mile long Pennine Way, which runs from Edale in Derbyshire to Kirkgetholm in Scotland. This track is about 80 miles from the start of the Pennine Way in Edale. This area of the Yorkshire National Park really is limestone country. The geology of this area is predominantly of limestone, which gives rise to many spectacular and scenic surface as well as underground natural features. One such type of surface feature are the limestone pavements, which are plateaus of bare and weathered rock, often being found at the top of limestone cliffs, known locally as scars, and these run along the hillsides as can be seen at Pen Y Ghent. These were originally formed by the scouring action of glaciers during the last ice age. Excellent examples can be seen at the top of Malham Cove, White Scar and Suther Scales, which are both near Ingleton. Below ground, the action of water on the rock has created miles of underground caves and passages that attract thousands of cavers every year.
Can't wait to get my sausage out.
Due to the mildly corrosive effects of slightly acidic rainwater on the limestone, a process which leads to the formation of caves and potholes in the dales, deep crevasses have slowly developed in the rock. Rare alpine plants flourish in these crevasses, and limestone pavements offer a unique habitat for many species. Hunt Pot is basically a 60-metre deep fissure at a junction in the limestone geology. It is an active stream sink, so is well watered, particularly in the lower part. This short pothole allows some fine views from the bottom, especially on a bright sunny day. There is no through connection at the bottom, but about 12 metres up there is a link to Shrapnel Pot. There are a number of watercourses which rise on the flanks of Pen Y Ghent, run downhill for several hundred yards, and then disappear below ground, never to be seen again. This is a characteristic of this limestone area. We stopped at Hunt Pot for lunch, and we were quite surprised by how few people there were at this impressive landscape feature, considering the numbers that pass by on the Three Peaks Walk. Unless you know it is there, it really is hidden from the route, and judging from past experience on this route, the majority of people undertaking the walk tend to follow the person in front of them and don't read the map at all, and hence just walk straight past it. Hull Pot lies on the western side of Pen Y Ghent, just to the north of the Pennine Way. It is also close to the route of the Yorkshire Three Peaks and is well worth a visit. It is actually a collapsed cavern, and there is little to explore underground at this location. However, for walkers it's an impressive hole measuring 300 feet long by 60 feet wide and 60 feet deep, and you do have to be careful when you're getting close to the edge. In dry weather, Hull Pot Beck goes underground before it gets to the rim of the pot and resurfaces again as a waterfall below in the pot itself. The water then disappears again and re-emerges at Brant's Gill Head, a short distance from the Pennine Way and Ribble Way near to Horton and Ribblesdale. But in wet weather it's a very different story. The stream runs over the edge into the pot, creating a spectacular waterfall. In fact, it has been known to fill to the brim with water, overflowing and then running down the hillside, but this is usually dependent on weather conditions, such as a lot of snow thawing rapidly and mixing with heavy rainfall. There are photographs in the Pen Y Ghent cafe of Hull Pot being full to the brim and overflowing. The ground from Hull Pot Beck over Todber Moss, Black Dubb Moss and Red Moss is very boggy and is like a quagmire in winter. This route is the original path of the Three Peaks Walk, although since around 2012 a new path has been created which passes this area completely and picks up the Pennine Way heading north to Birkwith Moor, thus saving quite a large amount of bog trotting. The views though are very extensive and one can see as far as Pendle Hill on a clear day. After leaving the bogs of Red Moss, we pick up the Pennine Way and walk south on a very good track that runs high above Ribblesdale. This allows a gradual and easy descent back down into Horton and Ribblesdale and to the car park.
So basically, there's music for eyes, that's the best I've done to be.
I won't be able to see you in all the gear, just with you, like finger here and stuff.
Well, busy evening here. We thought about eating in the Crown. 5 of us, 2 dogs, would have been a good bit of business for them. However, previous experience has shown us that this is less than hospitable and the food is less than satisfactory, so we're definitely not going to the Crown and we don't recommend it to anybody else who comes to this area.
Nothing to get queued up, is it? Whoever had it before me then.
It's quiet, isn't it?
Yeah. It's one of them electric ones.